We're back. It's Monday. The band is back together.
Come on.
We're talking about linebackers today. Some are coming to Georgia.
Sure.
Some are not coming to Georgia. These two things can be true at the same time. We're gonna talk about what's good about the linebacker core recruits coming in. We're gonna talk about what's not great about recruits choosing other schools, and we're gonna talk about what it all means and why Glenn Schumann is the greatest thing to ever happen to defensive football recruiting other than Kirby Smart. Today on the Locked On Bulldogs podcast.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back, Locked On Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you so much for making us your first listen. Daniel is back. I am back. Board games abound.
It's great.
Whatever game.
My microphone may or may not stay on for the duration of this podcast. We don't know.
We don't know, but we do know this. We have linebackers coming in. Mm-hmm. We have linebacker going out.
Yep.
And also, Florida, you're nowhere near even considering any of these linebackers that we're talking about.
Nowhere has the third segment been more relevant over there on the sidebar on YouTube than it is today.
Swing and a miss.
Not a swing and a miss. A swing and a here you go rival. You take him.
You take him.
You
I
take
don't
the
want
things
him.
that we want.
We're talking about that today. So, Daniel, let's talk about those who are coming into the program.
Let's talk about Kris Jones, linebacker out of the great state of Virginia. How many states are represented in this 2024 class now at this point? Is it all 50?
We at one point last year had recruiting guru on who said, hey, look out for this kid from Germany. And we thought, Kirby done with the states. He just collected them all.
He said, we gone past Alaska. We're going out of Taiwan. We're going to bring in football players.
Don't care. We'll go
Kris
anyway.
Jones coming in from Virginia.
Yes, sir.
4-star linebacker out of the state of Virginia. Really versatile linebacker. You kind of move him around, play him anywhere on the field. He likes to rush the passer. He let that be known.
He likes it. All right.
He's got size.
Yes.
6'3", 240, room to grow. He's got speed. He's got athleticism. People talk a lot about his work ethic. He's a good get for Georgia. This is a big-time linebacker.
Yes.
Florida was the other school that he was deciding between. And
ask Florida fan.
They didn't want him.
Didn't want him.
They didn't want him.
See, we're going to talk about this in the second segment. When a linebacker leaves the program, it's because Kirby has already told them, hey, just so you know, here's who we're bringing in. Okay? It's the Kris Jones of the world. It's the Justin Williams of the world.
Yep.
And we're saying, and we have a pretty good plan of what's going on. You can still come, no harm, no foul, but just let you know, here's our plan. If you want to go elsewhere, you may do so. And they do. Florida doesn't have that luxury. When you whiff, when you spin around like Yosemite Sam cartoon and you fall on your face trying to get a kid, which by the way, this happens more and more and more. Yep. We're going to talk about a couple of kids down the road from IMG and from Miami and from the great state of Florida that you should be holding to your own, but can't. You're being beat out by Florida State at this point.
No.
Christopher Jones is, in fact, you said versatile, 6'2", 220, and can fly. Daniel.
Got a lot of speed, sideline to sideline speed.
Stop us if you've heard this from a linebacking core at UGA.
You want to move him over to the edge on third down?
Sure.
He can do that.
Sure. You want to do a double gut, double A?
Bring him right up Main Street. Right down Main Street,
USA.
Worked
out for notable linebackers who are in the league starting on NFL, leading the team in tackles.
Well, there you have it.
and getting the green sticker that means he's our communication expert on the field for a Super Bowl contending Eagles team. Oh yeah, this is the mold we're talking about here, Daniel. Flying around.
So you bring in Justin Williams last week.
Yep.
Obviously Riddick leaves, goes to Auburn. We're going to talk about that in later in the.
I'm sorry. He didn't go one more time to the powerhouse schools of Florida nor Alabama.
No, he went to the best school in Alabama. He went to the most coveted place that a recruit would go in Alabama, and that's proving itself to be true on the recruiting trail.
We broke Alabama and Nick Saban. I didn't know how bad we broke Alabama when Hugh Freeze is now
Hugh Freeze over there just saying, "I'll take your best wide receiver off your recruiting class. Whoop, bring him over here."
Okay, and then
you want this linebacker? I'll take him too.
Hugh Freeze is already.
Hugh Freeze has a burner phone solely dedicated to calling Nick Saban to rub it in his face. We
can neither confirm nor deny.
We can confirm Hugh Freeze got burner phones. There's evidence. We can confirm it. It happened.
That wasn't a burner phone. That was just his phone. That's why he got.
If you think that was what was on his phone, what do you think was on the burner phone,
I don't
Clint?
want to know.
This is a family man. Auburn is a family school. He's a family man. Hugh Freeze. We're going to talk about this. We bring in the number 1 linebacker in the 2024 class, and the number 2, 3 linebacker, depending on what service you look at, decides he wants to go elsewhere. And people are saying that Georgia is broken, that Hugh Freeze is break. But see, what had happened was we brought in the better guy, and the guy who was not as good decided he wanted to go. We're going to talk about that in the third segment. In the second segment, though, I want to talk about what it is, some of these words that Kris Jones said.
Ooh, he said a lot.
And specifically how it relates to Glenn Schumann, the Justin Williams pickup, the Kris Jones pickup, and why Glenn Schumann is the best in the business. And you already alluded to it. I want to go more into it. But first, want to talk about this.
And this is eBay Motors. eBay Motors right now. I don't know if you have any problems, Daniel, from time to time, working on the old car, taking it in the shop, getting a whole bunch of money on something. You don't know what you're paying for. Parts that take weeks on end, and when it comes in, didn't fit, didn't go well.
Well, they're just gonna have to charge you double for labor because of that. Yeah.
Well, championship teams, it's all about making sure every player is perfect fit. Same when it comes to your vehicle. You need it just right. Next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. eBay Guaranteed Fit. Make sure every part fits right the first time. Just add into the My Garage. Look for the green
into the garage.
check right there. Your car, your make, your model, your year, and it will fit or your money back. Because like in sports, confidence is the name of the game. When you shop eBay Motors, over 122 million parts. Get the right parts, the right fit, the right prices. ebaymotors.com. That's Let's Ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit. Only available for U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Kris Jones asked about his decision, asked why he wanted to come to the University of Georgia, and made it quite clear.
Very abundantly.
He said, I came on the official visit. Everything was going great. Kirby Smart seemed like a great guy. Facilities seemed great. Got to hold a championship trophy. That seemed fun. Got to hang out with other linebackers. He mentioned a few. Got CJ. He mentioned a few different guys that he got to hang out with. Said he had a great time. Made some connections. Felt like he was at home. But at that point in his official visit, Georgia was still one of several schools that he was looking at. And then he said something happened. Then he said Glenn Schumann invited him into his office and said, would love to just have a chat with you, just one-on-one, man-to-man. Let's talk about you, the linebacker position, and let's talk about what we at the University of Georgia how we might utilize you and what that might mean for the rest of your football career and your life. After that conversation, Kris Jones said, I was a 100% lock to the University of Georgia. I called the coaching staff the day after I got home. I said, I'm committed to Georgia. I'm going to announce it on this day. This guy's been in the fold for a while. according to him, not according to some insider or guru, he's been in the fold for a while, according to him, all because of this conversation with Glenn Schumann, all of which, according to the man himself, centered around his development. It's that word, Clint.
It's the word.
You mentioned before, let's look at the track record. Let's look at all these guys who are making all these monies in the NFL. It's the development that Glenn Schumann has shown consistently year in and year out. Now, are there going to be high school kids who are going to be attracted to the shiny new object, to the let's be a part of what was said to be, quote, building a program when talking about Auburn? Just, I want to go there and establish a tradition. Like,
but see, Daniel, to establish a tradition.
now, Auburn fan, that's the words of your prized recruit, not my words.
So
it's just I'm telling
what's
you
not here
what they think
is
about
good SEC
your
national championship contending football.
If somebody says that about the Georgia basketball program, you know what I say?
Come on in.
Come on in. We'd love to have you.
That's the mentality we need.
I get the feeling Auburn football fans might have been a little put off by that comment.
That wasn't great.
Some people are going to be attracted to the shiny new object. That's my point. But the vast majority of kids, the ones that have a head on their shoulders, the ones that know what's good for them, will know you go to the place where you're going to be developed and turned into the best version of you as a football player that you could possibly be, thereby giving you the best chance to make the most money for the longest period of time doing what you love, a.k.a. pursuing your dream. Glenn Schumann does that. He has done that his whole coaching career with zero exceptions.
Yeah, by his whole coaching career. He don't miss. Guys, the record
doesn't
keeps
miss.
playing. You had no skips on this record.
But Smile Mondon and JDJ, those guys probably don't have a future.
No.
Those guys will probably miss.
It's just JDJ will, in fact, go down, again, as one of the surest tackling stalwarts. And Smile Mondon might be drafted higher than him when all is said and done.
But I mean, after them, Jalen Walker, that guy doesn't look like he's got a future. That guy doesn't look like he's going to be.
He's not sideline to sideline.
They're not going to be. He doesn't miss.
Doesn't miss, guys.
You just listen. Just listen to the recruits. Look at the results. The kids are noticing. They understand. And Glenn Schumann has the ability to. And I hesitate to even use the word sell because, again, when you don't miss, you're just speaking truth. You're just telling a kid facts.
This is so abundantly true of Kirby. It was of Dan, and it is of Glenn. When they are talking to you, they're not selling you on anything. They're not trying to convince you of anything. They're not marketing anything. They're being factual. They're stating what's in front of you. They're laying things out. They're giving you a perspective on it. That's
absolutely
true. And they're telling you, hey, let me show you. Come to my office and let me show you the plan I have to get you to go back to Fairfax, Virginia with guaranteed $16 million on your first contract. Here's my plan to get that done. And here's how I'm going to push you and coach you to get the most out of you to win national championships here. And then go ahead and go to the combine, show out, and become Nakobe Dean, become Channing Tindall, become these type linebackers that are stalwarts of their defense. That's what Glenn does. He's been doing it, and everybody remember when, again, Kirby Smart got hired. Everybody's like, what a just miss. What a catastrophic
He didn't have any head coaching experience, Clint.
But you see, he doesn't know how to. And then Dan Lanning left. Mel Tucker left.
Mel Tucker left first, and it was like, well,
Mel he Tucker, was the glue holding it all together.
Was the guy.
Okay, well, sure. I guess Dan can. I suppose. But really, Dan was built by. He was built by Alabama. We know that.
We know that.
We know that.
We know that was true.
And then Glenn comes up, and Glenn in his long, illustrious. Oh wait.
Do you want me to spoil something for you, Clint?
Please
I don't know how you feel about spoilers for the future, but
go ahead.
When Glenn leaves one day,
in 2 years,
it's going to be the same thing.
Same thing.
The next guy, he's going to be fine. Because guess what?
Say.
How's that DB's coach that Florida didn't want?
Oh no.
How's he working out? Let me share with you. He's ranked by 24/7 Sports as the #1 recruiter in the country.
Friend Brown can go ahead and get
He
himself
can go
some
ahead
fish.
and get it.
No,
he can go ahead and that's when Kirby, you want to talk about guys that don't miss. Kirby Smart hasn't missed since James Coley. And that is just facts.
That was dirty. You brought up Jimmy C.
But look, I'm just trying. That is objectively the last time there hasn't been even a sniff
Mike Bobo. How
at
dare
a miss.
You? How dare you?
Well, Mike Bobo is just nepotism. He just hired him because he's his roommate. Kirby
just
Smart doesn't
nepotism.
care about winning. He just wants to hire his roommate.
Clearly.
All right,
we're going to
let's
come
talk
back
about
after this.
an SEC team with no tradition, Auburn, right after this.
You said
He
Auburn,
said, I
no
want to
tradition.
establish a tradition. That's what I want to do.
He said, when you think of football and you think of
I want you to begin to think of Auburn.
you think of football, you think of SEC, you think of powerhouses. Right now, you're not thinking the Plainsmen War Eager Tigers. I get it. I understand. I want to bring them to mind again.
I want to bring him into the conversation.
This is what I want to do. Holy jeez, Auburn.
It's a family man. It's a man of the family.
Hugh Freeze, currently, again, I'm not joking when I say this.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I have to say this every single time, and it's getting tiresome. So,
Okay.
Bama fan, please, like put it into your. I'm not going to say what to put it in because you're going to actually do it. Like you're going to take it literally, but please write it down somewhere. Have somebody else type it for you so it's legible.
There it is.
Nick Saban is the GOAT. Okay, great. Now that's over.
Mm-hmm.
Hugh Freeze, first of all, already LSU better coaching position right now today than you have at Alabama.
A better current coach is at LSU than is at Alabama currently.
Correct. Hugh Freeze.
That's not
not a hot take, by the way.
Debatable. That's not a hot take.
It's not a hot take.
The man's done.
And the entire coaching staff at LSU is better than the entire coaching staff at Alabama. It's not just the head
about
football
people
coach.
who do miss when hiring assistants.
Oh, good golly. Okay.
You tell me, Alabama fan, does he miss?
How's the OC? How's the DC going?
What about the guys you just let go? Who hired them?
Who hired all those guys?
Who was responsible for that monstrosity?
The old ball coach. But you're telling me, and again, just go look at Hugh Freeze. He caught wind that Georgia was going to take 2 other linebackers, and he pounced. He was opportunistic. There was a guy who was going to leave. He was going to leave UGA the second we said, hey, we're getting the best linebacker in the nation, and Chris is going to come here too. We actually think he has better upside. Told him that. Okay, great. Hugh Freeze caught wind and said, let's call him up. Let's treat him. Let's get him to come over to Auburn. And they did that. And then he said, I'm getting the same smoke signals from a wide receiver. Let's tell him how better of a offensive coach I am.
Let's just show him film from Notre Dame and say, that's the guy who's going to be your coach.
He's your coach and he's your quarterback. 2 of the same things. I'll let you decide who you want to catch balls from.
Yeah.
Because conversely,
Hugh Freeze doesn't even have to recruit. Alabama's recruiting against themselves at this point.
That's what's happening. Now, we're making fun of Auburn because rightfully so, they don't have any tradition and they hired Hugh Freeze. But it turns out Hugh Freeze is quickly ascending the ladder of power ranking coaches today. Not of all time, today. How do I know? He just grabbed 2 kids that you would have loved, Bama.
Let's let him coach a game before we get to.
I said today. Dang it, I said today.
I just
said today.
I don't think they're not. It's not like. By the way, welcome to the 199. We're out here in the 3rd segment. But every time I feel myself about to get off the rails, I just want to welcome the 199. Happy to have you.
Bonfire.com.
Getting a lot of great getting a lot of great feedback of people who are joining the 199. I haven't been counting, Clint. I got to assume that we've heard from all 199 of them because it feels like we've heard from like 500,000, 2,000 people that they're in the 199.
I was going to say it's really weird when you're up past 7,000 subscribers on the YouTube and the audio is ticking up and you're clearly past the 199.
No, it's fine. If you're in the 199, you're in the select group.
You are. Loyal third segment. Bonfire.com/store/the 199. Get over there, get your merch.
I'm not saying Alabama's going to go 6-6 this year. Okay, don't hear me saying.
You heard it first, guys. Daniel is on record saying Bama is going to be 500 this year, losing to Tennessee, losing the Iron Bowl for sure.
Here's my point, because you're kind of making it for me. The more I look at the schedule, the more I find games they could lose. Now they won't lose all of those games.
Sure.
They won't lose most of those games, Clint. But the more I look at the schedule, did you know, by the way, I just learned this today, that Quinn Ewers shaved the mullet?
Shaved the mullet. Of course he did.
Freaking Samson, man. What the heck are we doing, Quinn?
Okay, so let's start there. Let's go there because Bama fan, you are here with us, so we might as well. And Georgia fan, revel
that Texas
with this.
Game, losable game.
Very losable. I put it at a coin flip right now.
LSU game, obviously, very losable game.
Give me points right now. You tell me. Anybody out there wants to go ahead and bet me? I'll take LSU and the points you're giving them.
Texas A&M at Kyle Field. That's a losable game, friends.
Huge wild card. I can't tell you what's going to happen to A&M this year. Neither can you.
I can tell you that the fans are going to be really loud. I can tell you that. Ole Miss, that's a losable game. Can I say Auburn is a losable game on the schedule?
You may, because if you look again at their defense.
It's at Auburn.
Their defense is good. Auburn's defense will be good. Their offense, questionable. But if you look at Alabama, they don't like those games.
Should I be more concerned about Auburn as a Georgia fan than I am right now, Clint? I'll ask you that. Let's stop talking about Alabama. Let's start talking about Georgia. Should I be more concerned about Auburn than I am right now? Now, Riddick is not going to play in these games, all right? That's a recruit from the future. We're talking about this year's team for Auburn. Let's not get carried away about recruiting wins.
I've told you.
Should I be more concerned?
I've told you, Jordan Hare Stadium makes me upset.
Named after the movie Space Jam. Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny's greatest compilation. Jordan Hare, put them together. That's what you get.
That bunny's a hare. I've told you I hate that stadium.
Of course you do.
I hate that stadium. And if Hugh Freeze is able to get them to an average offense, I'm talking average offense, Daniel. With that defense, they got skill. They
got
always
a better
have.
chance than Tommy Rees does. I just call it like I see it.
I'm nervous, Daniel. Yes,
I think you should be a little nervous. I'm just saying when you look at Alabama's schedule, there are some losable games on there. Another 10-2 season just could be right down the road.
Let me tell you this. Let me ask you this. What's more likely? 10-2 is what's more likely? 11-1 or 9-3?
Ooh. I thought you were going to say okay.
More likely
is 11-1 because Alabama's still going to be more talented than every team that they play on their schedule.
Okay.
During the regular season if they are so lucky enough to play Georgia, that will be the first team that will be more talented than they are.
Oh, gosh.
But so 11-1 has to be more likely than 9-3. But 10-2 is more likely than 11-1.
There's two losses on this schedule.
It's a harder schedule than Georgia's schedule. No bones about it.
Georgia played nobody.
Georgia ain't played nobody, Paul. And so when you you
can't play yourself.
There's games on there that are. It's the Tennessee fans telling us that there's nobody on our schedule, by the way. It's the Florida fans telling us that we schedule cupcakes. I'm sorry. Check point 3. If you're watching on YouTube, just check point 3 in the notes. What were we going to talk about today? What was that?
Still sucks.
That's it. Florida still sucks. So we don't really need to. We just take your recruits, whoever we want from you, whenever we want them,
which is now and tomorrow,
which is every single time. And Group of 5 Billy will just he'll coach one more year.
He's getting his people,
and then that'll be it.
He had Anthony Richardson.
Here's the thing about this recruiting class, just to bring it back and sort of put a bow on this conversation. They're not finished adding. This is a historically good recruiting class.
When we get done, this will be the best recruiting class Kirby Smart's ever had.
At any school. At
Market.
any stop.
Ever in his life. Not his life.
We're not finished recruiting. We're not finished signing players. We're probably not even finished signing linebackers.
I thought
in this class.
30 is going to be the number I think we sign. I think we signed 30 kids.
And let me just tell you, early August, which is starting tomorrow, begins tomorrow. If you just check your watch. Early August, if you're not a person who normally plugs in to recruiting,
go ahead, do so.
Now might be the time because
August 5th is a date you should know.
We got a 4-star running back. Well? We got a 4-star running back who's looking to commit. We got 5 stars all across the board. It's going to be early August is going to be an interesting time. It's going to be fascinating.
This has been Locked On Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. We will see you all next time.
See ya.